So Chris, you're here early this morning, getting ready to go into your prospecting.
Yep.
What did you do before you got here?
I got up early and went to the gym and had breakfast and took care of some things at home, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
So do you work out every single morning?
Yes.
Why is that important?
Oh, I know. I heard a long time ago, strong body, strong mind. So, it keeps me in shape and keeps my energy up, and I always feel better when I do.
Absolutely. So Chris, tell me, why is it important that people feed their mind and their body before they start doing their prospecting?
Well, I think 90% of what we do is mindset. So if we take care of that 90%, the 10% of actually doing the job is a whole lot easier.
Absolutely. Now you're getting ready. I see that you've got names up. Obviously, your assistant has prepared you this morning. What is required of her before you absolutely get here so you're ready to rock and roll?
Well, the only thing that's really required is for her to pull up the expireds. We have a couple different systems that we subscribe to that email us the expireds each day, and I like a hard copy, so she prints them out for me. But that's really all that needs to be done.
Okay, so it's 8 o'clock here in California, and you begin at 8 and you prospect for how long?
I usually go for making 30 contacts, which takes me sometimes 2.5 hours, depending on the type of calls I'm making. And then I do lead follow-up after that.
Okay, and so you actually count how many calls you make, and how do you do that?
There are two ways, either slash marks on a Post-it note, or I have a clicker.
Okay, and it counts.
It counts.
And
up
so
to 9,999.
Okay, got it. So we're doing, now I see $1 million bill there. What's that for?
Oh, that's my, well, it used to be my goal and net each year, but now I need more than that, so I'm going to have to get another one.
Well, I see some more up there, so that works out really well. So it's to remind you that you want to net $1 million, not make $1 million, net $1 million. That's important. I also see your business plan, and so you stare at that every day.
Stare at that every day. It's also taped on the outside of my shower facing in, so I see it twice a day there too.
Okay, and why is that important?
Just to keep it in front of me, to keep it it's the focus, to keep it the focus of everything I do.
Okay, well, I also see a graph over here, and this graph actually tells what happened in February. Do you get that every single month?
Every Monday.
Every Monday?
Yeah, the whole team gets it every Monday, so they can see where we're at for the month.
So this focus is very important on what you want to accomplish. So today we're going to get focused and let you start prospecting, okay?
Yeah, we call them expireds.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Hello? Hi, is this Miss Nagain? This is Chris Heller with Keller William Realty. Hi Debbie, my name's Chris. I'm a real estate agent calling you about your property that came off the market. Was checking to see when you're going to be interviewing agents for the job of selling it again.
Oh, we're not.
You're not? Okay. Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wanted to see when you're going to be interviewing agents for the job of selling it.
I'm going to hold off for a while because the market's so down and everything.
You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Okay, so Chris, I have some questions for you.
I have some answers.
Excellent. I noticed that you just kept going. You never stopped dialing. And it seemed as though you let about 3 or 4 rings happen. Do you have a rule for that?
No, I don't. You can always sense when someone's going to pick up or an answer machine's going to pick up or no one's going to pick up, and then just go on to the next call.
Okay, and I noticed you didn't make any marks when you left a message, so you don't count that as a contact.
It's not a contact, no, not at all. I make a little notation on there that I left a message, so next time I call or if someone on the team calls, we know that there was a message left.
Okay, so I noticed you were making notes and then you threw the papers in the basket. Now, where do they go from there?
Well, the ones that had bad or disconnected numbers, Victoria will do a little research, see if she can find other numbers for them. The ones that I either reached, if there was any follow-up, like the one guy that really couldn't help, I'm still going to send him a letter, and I'll follow up with him in a couple weeks just to see if anything's changed in the situation, because it sounds like a pretty volatile situation that probably things will be changing. The others go into, we have a box, the expired box with the 30 days of the month, and it goes into today's date. So anyone else on the team, this morning or later this morning or this afternoon or tonight can go and call today's expireds, the ones we didn't reach, or if they saw I left a message, then they can try to reach them. Mm-hmm. So it just allows us to, makes it easiest for us to contact them several times a day.
So it's a tickler file, and so when those come back up, then you'll go ahead and recall those.
Yeah, or we'll call, someone will call those today, the ones I just called this morning, someone will call them a little later today, and then they'll probably also call yesterday's and the days before, and we just try them at different times of the day.
I also noticed that when that gentleman talked with you, many agents would have kept going and trying to get an appointment and secure a deal, so to speak. But you really were concerned about what was best for him. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not best for someone to be selling their house, then I don't want to try to convince them to do something that's not. I mean, he had looked at his whole situation and was real clear on what was the best course of action for him. And that's, so that's what there was to do, just let him do what he's doing and move on to the next one. I'm looking for the people that want and or have to sell. He had, neither. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that you're always looking for the ones that have to sell. I also want the audience to hear the fact that you always come from contribution, that you're always trying to contribute to somebody's life, help them sell their home if that's what they need to do. But in this case, it wasn't the best for him, so you backed off.
At least not
wished
now.
him well.
Yeah.
And you're going to continue to call him.
Yeah, because his situation may change when he may come to the conclusion it is time for him to sell or he does need to sell, and then I want to be the one he hires.
Okay, so I noticed that this little cord comes here to a tape recorder. Are you taping all your calls?
I tape the vast majority of them. I don't do them all. It's very painful to listen to them all. But so I tape a lot of them, and I use them for listening to myself, and then my team can listen to them also.
Okay, so it's for training purposes, not only for your team, but for yourself as well.
Correct.
And how painful is that to sit and listen to them over and over? And
well, first of all, I hate the way I sound, so that's no fun.
We
to
all
listen
do,
to. Yeah. It's not that painful anymore because I don't. I do and say fewer things that are embarrassing. So.
Yeah. So at first it was, and so you do this every single day.
Almost every day. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know how many tapes I go through. I mean, boxes and boxes of them. In fact, a few years ago when we moved into this office, we threw out cases of them.
Oh, wow. So it's always improvement. You're into constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to do this every day, I want to get as efficient, as effective as I possibly can.
I think Gary calls that self-mastery. Yeah, so that's what you're into. Talk to me about the mirror. How does that help you?
It just reminds me to always be smiling when I'm talking to people, and to check my attitude, check my how I'm coming across.
Okay. And I also noticed that you glanced at your business plan probably 10 to 20 times as you've been calling this morning. What happens and goes through your mind when you glance over that way? In fact, you touched it a couple of times.
I just need, it's all about getting those appointments every month. And just reminds me of what I'm doing here, why I'm making these calls.
Well, you made a bunch of calls this morning and really didn't find anybody at home. Do you ever get discouraged?
No. There's probably bigger things in life to get discouraged about, but no, it's just part. Look, there's some days where I'll make that same amount of calls and get 2 or 3 appointments, and there's other days where I won't. So it's not Gary always says your career is not a year. Well, it's not a day or an hour either.
Okay, so you're like Michael Jordan. You just keep shooting the ball and know that it's going to go in the basket at one time. So Chris, I want the agents to know how to set up a prospecting area like this. I noticed that there's music going in the background. Talk to me about how you choose that music and why is it important.
Well, I choose music that I like, that gets me up and keeps me up. Music that I'd listen to if I was going out or driving in the car. As far as the space goes, I think the important things are that there's as fewer distractions as possible, and that it is set up to do just what you are trying to do, which is making calls. I prefer to stand during the day, so that's why I have the built up counter space. Even when I was new, I had a regular desk and I brought in cinder blocks and raised it up so I could stand. So if you can't build one of these, there's other ways to improvise. The other things are just to have only the things that you need and are working on at that moment in time in front of you. I mean, as an agent, there's no shortage of things I could be doing or working on or files or anything else, but all I have in front of me when I'm calling are the lead sheets that I'm calling.
Okay, well now you use a headset. How's that important?
Wow, it's important in a lot of ways. Number one, it allows me just, physically to, to not be in a situation where I'm getting fatigued because I'm, cramping my neck over or holding the phone up. It keeps my hands free to be able to write and to, be writing a note and dialing the next call and those type of things. And I think it probably sounds as good or better than a regular handset anyways.
Is there a certain brand that you recommend to the people?
I've had the best luck with Plantronics. Those are the ones I've used forever. I mean, more than 15 years of using them.
Tell me, as far as prospecting, how do you get through the repetitious boredom? Because it's day after day after day.
I've already come to terms with that's just my job. People go to work every day, some of them for 30 years, doing the same job every day. And they do it because that's their job, and this is just my job. So I don't think about whether I want to or don't want to or like it or don't like it. It's just what I do. So there's not even a question in my mind. It's just, okay, this is what there is to do at this time. It's like, okay, dinner time, what there is to do is eat dinner. So, and it also, I guess there's one other part of that, and that is knowing why I'm doing this, and what my end-all goal is, what I'm trying to achieve, and knowing this is getting me one step closer makes it a lot easier.
So you talk about your environment and how that supports you. And I noticed that you have many things on a board over here, drawings from children. Tell us about that.
Well, those are just things that make me smile, that are important to me, that are just constant reminders of like I said, what's important and a big part of why I do what I do.
Okay. Now, everything, again, environment-wise, you have a refrigerator. You have power bars. You have things to eat. Do you just not leave this space for 3 hours? Or?
Yeah, it'd be, I keep my drinks in here, my protein bars, and that way I don't, if I go out to get something, there's a good chance I'm going to hear something or talk to someone or get involved with something that's not, not part of my schedule. So if I just keep the things in here, that's a lot easier just to stay focused.
Nobody interrupts you. How did you accomplish that?
Well, I told them, no one interrupts me. I used to say, hey, I don't care if my house is burning down. Unless you positively can't get a hold of someone in my family or the fire department, then you can tell me. But otherwise, tell me when I'm done.
Now, your team is prospecting in another room.
Correct.
Do you have requirements of your buyers and agents and listing specialists that they make so many contacts, or is it just about appointments?
Right now they have both. They have daily requirements of contacts. They have to make 50 contacts a day, and that's their daily accountability. And they have to report in twice a day, in the morning, at the end of the day, and then they have an accountability checklist or sheet that they turn in each week that shows daily what they did.
Okay, so now you said 50.
Correct.
Okay. That means that they may be there all day prospecting.
If they're there all day, then they're probably not being as efficient as they could be. So that's another thing we look at is, if they say they don't have time or they're not getting to them, then, why is that happening? What are you doing between calls? Are you dialing? Can you dial without knowing where, looking at the numbers? Can you do that?
Yeah, I noticed that you can do that with your right and left hand.
Yeah, it's multi-talented.
Yeah.
So could they be there all day? They could be, but really, if they're making less than 10 contacts an hour, then they're not very efficient in what they're doing. They're probably doing things between calls that they shouldn't be doing, or they're not using the script. They're getting into longer conversations that aren't going to lead to to what we want to lead them to.
Okay, so it sounds like you have standards. Standards are a key thing, and do you have standards for yourself as well as your team?
Absolutely. I have to lead by example. If I'm not if I don't have standards, if I'm not following standards, it's going to be really hard to expect anyone else to do that.
Okay, so one of those standards are 10. You're going to go for 10 contacts per hour. You find that pretty average?
Actually, that would be, I'd call that probably low efficiency. Depends on the type of the call. If it's a just listed, just sold call, I've been able to make as many as 20 an hour. On an expired or for sale by owner, it's probably going to average more about 12 an hour, 12 to 15.
Okay, so Chris, I noticed that you're in this room by yourself, and your buyers, agents, and listing specialists are in the other room. Why don't you have them in the room with you?
Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, I know I'm more effective if I'm focused. If I'm in there with them, then the majority of the time I'm going to be listening to what they're saying and doing, and which would be great for them, and sometimes I'll do that. But it's not conducive to me accomplishing the things that I need to accomplish. I have them all together because there's definitely a synergistic effect that happens. They're also able to help each other. When someone gets off the phone, they can say, hey, gosh, you should have tried this, or what do you think I could have done or said differently?
Do you ever take their conversations and listen to them?
Yeah, they tape them and listen to them. In fact, I have a listing presentation I need to listen to here.
Oh, one of theirs?
Mm-hmm.
And then do you sit down with them and critique it with them and point out what they did correct and what you want them to keep doing?
Absolutely. It's recording the prospecting session or listing presentation is useless unless you A, listen to it, then B, say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do differently as a result.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now let's say I'm one of your buyer's agents. I didn't make my calls for a couple of days. Could have, wasn't because I was ill or out of town. What do you say to me?
Well, first thing I'd want to know is why, and look at, okay, you have these goals and these minimum standards. How are you going to accomplish that if you're not doing the things that you need to do? What's stopping you? What's getting in the way? And it's typically, it's not, it'd be rare for it to be, oh, they didn't want to or anything else. To be, well, I got bogged down because I was working with this buyer or this. And so then we'll talk about time management and scheduling, and if they were working with that buyer, would they stop in the middle of that, because their accountant had a question about their tax returns? No, they'd focus on that client. And the same thing with their prospect, this needs to be as important an appointment as anything else you do.
Well, you said you had a desk with cinder blocks underneath it.
Yeah, when I first started, 20 years ago, we had this little desk in the cubicles, and so I brought in cinder blocks and raised my desk up so I could stand up.
So, 20 years. Now that's a lot of discipline, Chris. What would you tell our audience as far as how do they start that discipline? Because to say I'm going to do this 3 hours and start it tomorrow probably isn't going to happen. How would they start that?
Well, actually, it could happen. We're talking about picking up the phone and making calls. We're not talking about hard labor out in 100-degree weather. We're not talking about digging ditches. We're talking about picking up the phone and making calls. So, you start by just figuring out who you're going to call, and then have your environment set up, and then you do it. And you set up structures that make it easy for you to do what you want to do. And by structures, I mean, before I had an assistant, the receptionist would put calls through to the agents, and if I didn't answer the phone, the voicemail light would go on. So I used to tape over the light so I wouldn't know there was voicemails. I used to leave, once we had cell phones, I used to leave them in the car, till I was done prospecting, so I wouldn't be tempted to answer it or to check the voicemail.
Well, I noticed your assistant took your cell phone away this morning.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm a bad boy and I'll check the text messages or if there's a call coming in, I'll be tempted to take it. So
what you say is your reality, you know who you are and the things you might be distracted with, and then you just remove them from your life.
Yeah, and we all know what things either that we distract ourselves with or that we let in or that people distract us, and that's just a process of removing those things. So all that's left is to do what there is to do.
Where did the discipline start? Was it the first day you got into real estate?
It was, I knew I didn't have any special talents. I knew I wasn't, the smartest guy around. I knew that I could work hard as anyone. And then I discovered that if I developed a higher degree of discipline, I could be a lot more effective and a lot more efficient. And beyond working more hours, the only way to improve is through efficiency and effectiveness. So the discipline just came from, gosh, the more disciplined that I am, the faster I'm going to get to where I want to go. And so it wasn't a hard decision. And discipline's it's a habit. It's nothing, I wasn't born with it, or I didn't have any more coming into the deal than the next person. It's just something, a habit that I created, like getting up early. It's just a habit that I created, and now I can do it.
You've taken the MREA book and you implement that. How would you suggest that an agent takes that book, and do they implement it just one chapter at a time? How did you do it?
When I got the book, I just read the whole thing, and I think it should be mandatory. It should, before someone gets a real estate license, they should have to read that. And I now have it on my iPod too, so I can listen to it
while you exercise.
Yeah, exercise, or if I'm on a plane or wherever. But I think the first thing I need to just read the whole thing. I'm amazed at how many agents that haven't, or say, oh yeah, I went through it, or I started it, or just read the thing, and then decide. You aren't going to do everything at once. You're not going to go from 0 to 60, on the first day. So there's the basic things you need to do. Coming up with your schedule, coming up with your plan, and your job description, and then doing those things. As you do those things, you'll start to get business. As the business comes, you'll then see, okay, well, here's where I need to, I need help. It's time to bring on that first hire, or I need to delegate, the transactions out to the transaction coordinator, or I'm going to refer my buyers out, or whatever it is you're going to do. But you don't have to worry about any of that until you get in the business. Once you get in the business, then you'll figure out what you need to do to take care of it.
Well, you've always had a coach. In fact, Tony was one of your coaches, I know, and he always talked about your discipline and how great you were at just putting your head down and working. How important is a coach for people to have?
I can't imagine. It just makes life in business so much easier to have one. It's why do it the hard way? Why not have someone who's there helping you each step of the way, who's holding you accountable, who's monitoring what you're doing and helping you become more efficient, more effective. So it's like, why not? Why would you not want to have a coach?
Well, but what if you have a friend that'll hold you accountable, or even a team leader?
That's great, and a lot of accountability is better. But here's the other part of it. When you're paying someone to do something, you're more apt to do what they say. If I'm writing a check every month to be coached, I'm not going to hang up the phone and go, oh, forget that, I'm not going to do that. I'm paying for that, so I'm more likely to do the things that need to be done.
And I know that your buyer's agents are in coaching as well. I was talking with them earlier.
Correct.
Why is it important to have your entire team in coaching?
Well, again, the people that are on this team are people that all want to do better and get better and learn more. They're all learning based. So as a result, they all believe the same things I believe, that having a coach is going to allow us to do that. It's also important for them to have a coach because it takes me out of coaching them, and I don't necessarily have the patience or the time or the desire to be doing that. So I can have someone else that is doing those things, holding them accountable, so I can focus on the things I need to be doing.
So you stay in the 20%. All right, so many people won't call their past clients. In fact, in coaching, that's the one thing that we start them off right at the beginning doing, because most people don't do it. Did you have anything to get out of your mind or to go through to be able to pick up the phone and call?
No, but I understand why agents don't do it. They have a lot of hang-ups, but they got to understand that none of that stuff really exists in reality, and none of it exists over with the clients. Whether they think they're bothering them, whether they think they're unhappy with them, whether they feel guilty about the fact that they haven't called them, whether they feel guilty about the amount of money they earned for what they did or didn't do. The client doesn't think about any of that stuff. They're doing their life and not thinking about the agent at all. So for me, it's just a natural to be calling them. And the pain of not calling them and finding out that they moved, they sold, that there's a sign in front of their house is much stronger than any reservations I have about calling them.
Right. In fact, Jim Rohn says the pain of discipline weighs ounces and the pain of regret weighs tons. So I can relate to that. Now, on your past client, you said to this gentleman, I haven't talked to you for a while, and yet he gave you a referral, which is evidence that people aren't sitting there thinking about you every single day.
Sure. No, I mean, I asked the question, he goes, well, actually, my dad, was looking. So he was this, again, he's not upset that I've called or haven't called or anything else. That's not an issue. I asked the question, he answered it, and that led to, a lead, and hopefully us being able to help him, his dad, find a condo here so he can visit his grandkids.
So I have to ask you, have you ever hesitated to call somebody, maybe had a bad transaction with them and you just didn't want to pick up the phone?
Absolutely. Yeah. Every day there's those thoughts and hesitations there.
How do you break through?
It's for me, it's really easy. I know if I don't, and then I find out that they listed or that they sold, that is a much worse feeling than anything I might be thinking about calling them, and that'll motivate me to do it. Because I know if I don't do it, someone else is going to get them.
Yeah. So we haven't talked for a while. In fact, we had a terrible transaction. I may have even gotten upset at you during the escrow time. So how would you approach me on that?
There's a bunch of different ways. If you were like really over the top angry, I might just make a real light call and say, hey, Diana, this is Chris Heller, your favorite real estate agent. And just calling, I know it's been a while. I know things didn't go as they were, and as I explained, we're always looking to do better, so I appreciate you sharing with us, what didn't work for you. But listen, the reason for the call is to see we have gotten a lot better and want to see who we could help that that has any real estate plans. Anyone come to mind?
Good. So you just keep making those calls.
Yeah.
All right.
And people respect that. They don't, and they don't stay mad forever.
Yeah, they probably forget about it, don't they?
Yeah, much faster than we do.
So, Chris, we're finding many agents out there just don't want to pick up the phone, which they want to market and let the mailers do the talking for them. And that's fine, perfectly fine. We don't judge them. Why do you think, though, they don't want to pick up the phone?
I think there's a bunch of issues. Number one, I believe if they really understood how much more profitable and how much more money they'd have at the end of the year if they did business this way, I think they'd be a little less hesitant. But there's also, a lot of times they project onto other people what they feel. In other words, maybe they don't like getting phone calls, so they have an assumption that everyone else feels the same way. On a certain level, I don't care. I never have what anyone else thinks. So I know that, again, my livelihood, the people that depend on me are counting on me to do what I need to do, which is to pick up the phone. So I'm not going to worry about a stranger, maybe not being thrilled that I called them or not.
Yeah. They don't know you. You don't even think about that.
No, I get rejected by people I love all the time. Someone that I don't even know rejects me isn't going to have a whole lot of effect.
Now, I know that you have bad days just like the rest of us. In fact, some days are terrible. Do you ever take off from prospecting?
No. And that's why I do it first thing in the morning also. I do it first thing in the morning so that I haven't had a chance to have that bad day yet. Because if I did it later in the day and everything had gone wrong up until that point, probably the last thing I'd want to do is pick up the phone and start prospecting. But get that out of the way first, and then then whatever happens the rest of the day.
But Chris, what about those days that you just really don't even want to get out of bed? Do you ever have those?
Yep.
So
I
what
had
do
a
you
little,
say
a
to
little bit
yourself?
of one today.
Yeah, did you? Especially filming, right?
I'll say to myself, gosh, I don't want to do this or I don't want to do that. And then my next thought usually is, what, don't listen to your wants or don't wants. So I sort of program my mind to react to when I say I don't want to do something to say, don't listen to your wants and don't wants. If I paid attention to all my wants and don't wants and just followed those, nothing would ever get done. So it's just back to, okay, well, this is my job. I have clients, I have team, I have family, all dependent on me to get up and do what I need to do today.
Well, you went to a concert last night. What time did you get to bed?
About 2.
About 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And yet here you were before 8 o'clock, walking through the door, making certain that you were ready to prospect.
Yeah, and I got up early and worked out too. When I bought those tickets for the concert, knew it was a Monday night. I knew that I'd be working on Tuesday, so there was that was the plan all along.
Okay, great. So every day it's the plan to get in and prospect.
Yes.
Make 30 contacts.
Yes.
Set appointments.
Yep.
Good for you.
Hello.
Hello, hi, is this Randy?
It is.
Hey Randy, good morning. My name's Chris. I'm a real estate agent calling you about your property that came off the market.
Yeah.
Wanted to see when you're going to be interviewing agents for the job of selling it.
I'm going to hold off for a while because the market's so down and everything. And
Just going to give it a break because of what's happening in the market?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Just out of curiosity, if you had sold the place, where were you headed to next?
Well, nowhere. I mean, it's just one of these things that don't know, and what's going to happen with it yet. So.
Okay. So was it more that you were selling the property just to better your financial situation?
Oh, it's actually a divorce situation,
Gotcha.
and plus the fact that I'm fighting the city on a disability retirement right now and have no job. That.
Sounds like you got your hands full.
Oh, I got more than you could imagine.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, but I do understand. Let me ask you this: are you living in the property, or is it your ex?
No, I'm going to go back into it because
Okay.
I need to take and have a place to put my kids for the time being. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to probably put myself in some further debt by borrowing some money from my aunt, until my other settlement stuff gets done, and then I'll know better off by then.
You know what your situation is.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: so, taking all that into consideration, what is actually the best thing for you? Is it in other words, if you could sell the house in the next 30 days, would that be more advantageous, or is it going to be better for you to move you and your
No,
kids
I
back
need
in?
to have a place to put my kids.
Gotcha.
My kids, and she wins.
I understand. All right. Well, it sounds like you're doing the right thing and what needs to be done.
Yeah.
At some point, things may change, and you may decide to sell the property. If it's okay with you, I may check back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. My name's Chris Heller. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
All righty. Goodbye. Hello. Hi. I'm looking for
This is Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. My name's Chris. I'm a real estate agent calling you about your property that came off the market.
Uh-huh.
Was checking to see when you're going to be interviewing agents for the job of selling it again.
Oh, we're not.
You're not. Okay, terrific. Let me ask you, I noticed that you had it on the market for about 4 or 5 months. If you had sold it, where were you headed to?
Oh, we haven't decided yet.
Okay, well, probably a good thing it didn't sell then.
Well,
You'd have nowhere to go.
no, I wouldn't say that. We're not interested in doing that now, and we're not interested in putting it back out there.
Okay, is there a point here in the year where you think you may be planning another move?
No.
Or are you going to be staying put?
No, we're good.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hi, you've reached Jim's cell phone voicemail. Please leave me a message after the tone, and I will return your call as soon as I can. Thank you.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options. To leave a callback number, press 5.
Hi, Jim. This is Chris Heller with Keller Williams Realty. Calling you about your property that came off the market. My number is 632-8408. 632-8408, Chris Heller. Thank you. Hello, is this? Is trying to reach James? Okay, all right. Sorry to bother you. Hey, quick question. I'm a real estate agent. While I have you on the phone, do you have any real estate plans or needs? Oh, are you an agent? I understand. Who are you with? What company? Residential or commercial? Oh, okay. You're all over the place. I hear you. All right, well, lots of luck with your business. All right, thanks. Bye. Real estate agent at home at 9 o'clock. Hello, is this Mike?
Yeah, this is Mike.
Hey, Mike, this is Chris Heller with Keller Williams Realty.
How's it going?
Oh, just making a quick business call. I want to see if you come across anyone recently that has any real estate plans I could help them with.
Actually, my brother-in-law was talking about maybe moving soon. He travels a lot between LA and San Diego.
Is he looking to move here full time, or?
Well, full time I think, but the market has been so weird lately. I think he's nervous about trying to move right now.
The way prices have come down, there's starting to be some pretty darn good deals out there. In what area do you think he wants to be in?
I know he likes Pacific Beach, but he doesn't really know the area that well. I think Carlsbad would be good as well.
You like Carlsbad North, or even closer to you?
Yeah, anywhere close to me would be better for my wife, but he's really interested in a lot of areas.
Okay.
We'll probably have to show him some options and try to point out areas close to us.
Yeah, Vista, and there's also some really good deals in some good areas in Oceanside too. Not over in the Rancho Del Oro type area and Ivy Ranch, those areas. I've been fortunate enough to be able to get some business from some of the banks on some of the foreclosures, and been helping some people get some fantastic buys on some of those properties. Does he have any plans of coming out here soon, or is?
Well, that's the catch. I'm not sure when he'll be able to make the move. His work's pretty up and down. He's been flip-flopping on this for a while now already. But if the prices are coming down, then I think he would be more willing to put some serious thought into it. I mean, it seems ridiculous for him to wait until prices start skyrocketing again.
What would be the best way if there are some deals that pop up, and there are, and there will be, and there are, to get the information? Should I send it to you or send it to him, or?
I think the best plan would be to send it directly to me.
Okay, give me your email address.
It's MikeSmith@spcglobal.net.
Okay, all right. I'll send them over as they come up. They may come. You'll either see them come from my email address or one of the people on my team. So any of the stuff, and then any feedback you can give us, as to this looks good, or what, nothing like this, or need more of this or less of that. That'll help us narrow it down and then not have to bug you with as much stuff. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Mike, good deal. Good talking to you.
Good talking to you, Chris.
All right, take care. Bye.